The Boston Bruins have made a shocking trade, trading Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers. And ladies and gentlemen, this return is terrible. Don Sweeney has fumbled what was a very, very good trade deadline up to this point in this trade for Brad Marchand. We're going to be talking about this here, what we know so far, the reaction, and everything that has gone down with this Brad Marchand trade. Very quickly before we get into it, though, 5,963 subscribers are where we are currently at. We're on the goal to 6,000, and your guys' support has been incredible throughout this trade deadline. I appreciate every single one of you guys here. And watching Brad Marchand go to this team has taken a very big toll on us Bruins fans. But this is the tweet which announced the trade, the return, the fleecing by the Florida Panthers of this Boston Bruins team. A second in 2027 that turns into a first in 2028 if conditions are met is the trade for Brad Marchand. Now, Don Sweeney had put in some serious work about this team. And when we're looking at, this whole spectrum of things that have gone on today, the deadline has been great. They put in a great work into the future of this team, gave up assets that were bound to go, that got great returns in draft picks and prospects and whatnot. Then the final deal of the day, Brad Marchand for a second-round pick with retention coming on this deal. Now, the retention is not going to matter however much it is. It is the final year of his contract, so regardless of what happens, it won't really matter. 6.125 is where Brad Marchand is currently at. The Panthers have just over $4 million, so either way, it don't really matter. But a second-round pick that turns into a first if conditions are met, conditions we don't know yet. Hopefully it's something by playing one playoff game or whatnot. This has been a terrible deal, which really just kind of turned the entire thing upside down. Now, with Brad Marchand, his stats for the Boston Bruins this season have been pretty great. 47 points in 61 games. We haven't really seen, a whole big change for Brad Marchand this year. He's been great once again. The final year of his deal for a 36 going on 37-year-old to do this consistently, put up 19 minutes, just about under 20 minutes time on ice a game. He's been a dog for this franchise, not just this season, but since 2009. Since we saw Brad Marchand with this team, and to trade him, trade your captain for a second-round pick, conditional second-round pick, when you didn't need to trade him, is a slap in the face to Brad Marchand. Now, this is not saying that Brad Marchand didn't want to be traded, and that's where kind of everything is really coming in. When you're looking at how things have been working and how Marchand kind of may have facilitated this trade, a second-round pick with a conditional first, being the condition, is a gut punch, as Michael Sullivan says here. Objectively, Marchand is hurt. He might not play until the playoffs and isn't guaranteed to stay. Objectively, with no fan goggles on, it kind of makes sense. But when your captain gets traded, this definitely sucks. A guy who put blood, sweat, and tears, literally blood, sweat, and tears into this organization, to trade him for a conditional second-round pick to a team that has been such a foe to the Boston Bruins is just a horrible outlook on this trade. Now, when we were looking at coming into today, we saw the moves of Trent Frederic. We saw the moves of Justin Brezzo. Two great moves, in my opinion. Garnering some assets for the future, some picks. And going into today with Brad Marchand, Brandon Carlo, and Charlie Coyle all on the table, I expected one to be traded. And when we're looking at how Connor Ryan put this into perspective, all of these guys were traded. This was not a rebuild. This was not a retool. This was a rebuild. This was a full-blown rebuild. We saw it here today. We saw Cam Neely come out and say, hey, we may make a few changes. We don't really know what's going on, but retool is what we need. They traded everybody that had any bit of value to this team, and it worked out, all except for Brad Marchand. And, it makes sense. Trading Brad Marchand now for what you could have gotten. An extension could still come. You could sign him to a contract in the offseason. You could sign him, back to this team. But after this year, something tells me he is going to be retiring. I don't know what. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But when we were looking at Don Sweeney, I want to pop back to this once again for a moment. Before today, or before, I should say, before the big deals at the end of the deadline, with Charlie Coyle's deal as well, what a deal it was. What a deadline it was. And we're going to have videos on all of these other trades here, mainly the ones that happened today. Casey Middlestat coming over to the Boston Bruins, Charlie Coyle, Brandon Carlo, and of course, Brad Marchand being gone. All of these videos. We're going to have videos, coming out like crazy, so be sure to stick around for that. But with the way that this deadline worked, the way everything was planning out, looked to be good. Keeping your captain, giving a little bit of experience to these guys, younger guys coming into the team. But now, trading them really ruined Don Sweeney's outlook on this team. People, and I was streaming during this deadline, 3-hour live stream. People, every trade up until this Brad Marchand one, people were saying, this was Don Sweeney's opinion was definitely coming up. People were very happy with what he was doing. He was actually understanding what fans and the organization wanted and needed. But then when this trade came along, things just got worse, and the opinion went out the window. But, apart from this Brad Marchand trade, I think the deadline was a pretty big dub. Overall, getting these picks, getting players, scamming the Toronto Maple Leafs, another one that we're going to talk about that is obviously amazing. This deadline was overall pretty good, but I don't know what to say, ladies and gentlemen, about this Brad Marchand trade. A lot of people really have taken, a lot of opinions on this, and we're still going to get a bit more on this. Obviously, the retention is still coming. We may see another pick here. Obviously, the deal is not fully locked and loaded and done, but with the 18-no trade list, it sure seems like Brad Marchand facilitated some sort of trade to get this done, and it really seemed like because of this deal, the Bruins, kind of ran out of options. It seemed like Brad Marchand wanted to do this. Sam Bennett, who he played with in the Four Nations face-off with Team Canada, seems to have made up, and, all things considered, that will be a pretty cool line to see after what had happened, but it still sucks from a Boston Bruins standpoint. So let me know what you think about the Brad Marchand deal here. The deadline was definitely a crazy one, and go check out the stream. Obviously, you don't need to watch the entire 3 hours of it. Skip through, take a look, have a peek through, and especially near the end around that deadline mark, there's going to be a counter there, so when you head in, the clock will show you when the deadline expires and all of these deals come flooding in. It's kind of crazy, but, this is a new Bruins team. This is the end of an era, and we're going to have a lot of stuff to cover over the next few days. So if you're looking for all of your Bruins news, with everything that is going to come out over in the next few weeks, maybe a new captain, whatnot, be sure to hit the sub button. And I know that it's going to be a tough time. It's going to be a tough time over the next few weeks and heading into the offseason, but the Bruins got a lot of cap space to work with now. They're going to have a lot of stuff to do. They are going to be busy, and whether or not it's going to be Don Sweeney making the moves, we'll have them all here first for you guys. But without any further ado, that's all I got. If you guys did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. Let me know in the comments below. What do you grade this deadline? Definitely a crazy one, but I think I would give it a B+. Let me know what you think. But like I said, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.